I'm Alex Villarreal with the VOA Special English Health Report. World Suicide Prevention Day was September 10th. This year's observance was meant to bring attention to the differences among suicidal individuals and their situations around the world. But the organizers also said that all over the world, people have something in common. They need to feel connected to others for good mental health. The organizer included the International Association for Suicide Prevention and the World Health Organization. The World Health Organization says that every year about 1 million people kill themselves. It says suicide is one of the top 3 causes of death among people between the ages of 15 and 44. Among people aged 10 to 24, suicide is the second leading cause of death after car road accidents. Lenny Berman is president of the International Association for Suicide Prevention. He points out that suicide rates differ from country to country, as do common ways that people kill themselves. As a result, he says prevention efforts must fit with local needs. He says the main methods of suicide in developing countries has been pesticide poisoning, and overdose, and there has been efforts to develop prevention programs to reduce the use and availability of pesticides. Mr. Berman says findings from agricultural areas of Sri Lanka, India, and China show promise. They show that programs are helping to limit access to these poisons. There are often clear warning signs before a suicide attempt. Lenny Berman says individuals usually talk about the idea before they try it. Another warning sign is a sudden increase in the use of drugs or alcohol. Warning signs also include expression of hopelessness or a sense of feeling trapped. Mr. Berman says the risk of suicide can be more difficult to identify in children. They generally communicate more with other children than with adults, but the other children often do not understand the messages. As a result, he says when children speak of suicide, other children rarely report it. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal. From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report. Growing up can be hard in poor neighborhoods where crime is common. That is the situation Marco Antonio Aguilar faced when he started at Garfield High School in Los Angeles, California. The boy hated school. He says he had the wrong friends, often missed classes, and even got into fights. The school suspended him, barring him from attending classes. He almost was sent to a school for problem students, but Marco Antonio changed his behavior. He says a talk with his mother helped him change, and he praises his teachers for the help they provided. But now students at Garfield High no longer receive suspension. The punishment itself has been suspended. Jose Huerta, the Garfield High principal, took the action when he first arrived at Garfield more than 4 years ago. Back then, more than half the students was leaving school without finishing their studies. At the same time, Garfield was suspending nearly 700 students yearly, but Mr. Huerta had other ideas about how to deal with young people who misbehavior. He says most of the suspension was for behavior known as willful defiance. He said that could include something as minor as chewing gum in class. Under Mr. Huerta's leadership, students involved in willful defiance first talked to a teacher, then a parent may get involved. Finally, group support can be provided. Today, Garfield graduates 85% of its students, and last year's a public opinion survey last year the Los Angeles Unified School District changed its punishment policy. The whole district banned suspension to punish students for willful defiance. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal. From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report. South Africa has 11 official languages. If you want to say hello, it's Sawubona in Zulu and hello in Afrikaans. Now, South African school children may start using ni hao to say hello. The country's ministry hopes to add Mandarin language classes in some schools. Mandarin is the official language of China. This country is a major trading power for South Africa. The two countries recently signed an agreement that identifies 5 areas of cooperation. They include curriculum development, mathematics, and science, teachers training and research and development in basic education. South Africa said officials have not said how much the Mandarin language classes will cost. Troy Martens works for the Ministry of Basic Education. She says it is extremely valuable to both sides. The part of the plan that had gained the most attention is a proposal to offer Mandarin classes. Offer Mandarin classes in schools. Last year's a public opinion survey showed that South Africans have mixed feelings about China. It found that 46% of South Africa do not like the spread of Chinese ideals and customs in their country, and 60% of South Africa said they dislike Chinese music, movies, and television. But Ms. Martin says trade with China is more important than the feeling. As she says, it is extremely helpful for South African students to learn about the Mandarin language and Chinese culture. And she says not every school will offer language training. South Africa census officials have not said how many native Chinese speakers there are in the country. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal. Xin lỗi, bye bye, chúng tôi